Hello, this is AnlineOffline. Welcome back to another casual quick guide to Call of Duty Mobile. For today's video, we'll be covering the Striker 45. Not to be confused for the Striker revolving shotgun. The Striker 45 is an automatic SMG from Modern Warfare 2019 with a unique 2-round burst mechanic. Although it bears a striking resemblance to the HK UMP, it is technically based on the SMG45 by LWRC. So, what's the difference? The UMP was intended as a potential higher caliber successor to the earlier MP5, but was regarded as a step down due to its simplification. And after the collapse of the G11, Heckler & Koch had more ambitious projects to work on at the time. LWRC International was known for manufacturing short-stroke gas piston versions of the AR-15 and wanted to break into the pistol caliber carbine scene. So they designed an American, ambidextrous, AR-friendly alternative that reintroduced a delayed blowback design with a short recoil system. Aside from sharing the same mags, it's different from the UMP, but it does have its own issues. Delayed blowback means that it has lighter recoil than the UMP's simple blowback, but the reciprocating barrel has had issues with accuracy, and priced at $3,000, it is quite expensive compared to its peers. 2019 wasn't the first Modern Warfare to introduce the SMG45. It first appeared as the Fang 45 in Modern Warfare Remastered behind supply drops, and had a unique 5-round hyperburst when the mag was full. To backtrack on an earlier video, the GKS is also an SMG45, but modified to appear more futuristic. And not 100% confirmed, the Striker 45 was leaked to once again return in 2023's Modern Warfare 3 reboot. But back to mobile. As its description would suggest, base damage per shot is high, killing in 3 shots up close and then dropping to 4 and 5 from afar. Its low fire rate of 600 rounds per minute keeps this damage in check, but it does have a bullet speed of 600 meters per second. It would have had infinite effective range if it were hit scan, but it's limited to 20 meters instead. Headshots are 50% extra damage, and you can extend its 3-shot potential into its 3rd range with just 1. The chest and arms are 10% extra, while the legs are 10% less, but they aren't an issue. Like a lot of the newer weapons, the 45 does have barrel attachments that can change its bullet speed. 150mm is a short barrel that improves mobility, but comes at the cost of 13% more vertical and horizontal recoil, along with 20% less range and slower bullet speed. 300mm is a Ranger barrel that increases range by 20% and bullet speed by 33%, but slows your ADS time. And lastly, 400mm is a Marksman barrel that increases range by 35%, bullet speed by 50%, and reduces vertical recoil. However, it significantly reduces your ADS time and movement. In terms of mobility, the Striker 45 has the 3rd fastest base movement speed in the SMG class. With the previously mentioned 150mm barrel, it can rival base pistols in movement. When combined with the FSS Guardian stock, it has the 6th fastest strafing speed, ahead of the Bison and OTS-9, but behind the KSP. Keep in mind that this specific combination comes at the expense of range, bullet speed, recoil, and no rear grip attachment. The base ADS speed is tied with the GKS, QXR, and Lapa for the slowest in the class. Luckily, its sprint out time is faster than average. The base mag size is small at 25 rounds, and can be extended to 45 or reduced to 12 with hollow points. Reloading is fast, and you can reload cancel just before you insert the mag, which is telegraphed. As for accuracy, the 45 has average bloom, and is not the best for long-range mag dumping. The hipfire spread is abysmal, as it's relative to LMGs, and the slow fire rate doesn't help. The iron sights are not my favorite, but are usable for its effective range. Recoil is quite moderate. The first 5 are light, but the next 6 kick considerably, before smoothing out, and the last 15 stop budging. The pattern is not complex, but I still suggest burst firing. As for actual bursts, like the Maddox Echo Fire, hollow points convert the Striker into a 2-round burst, but unlike the former, The fire rate does not change, and now has a burst delay of 180 milliseconds. It does at least increase your chest and bicep multiplier to 1.5 like the head. Theoretically, its one burst is the fastest killing non-one-shot weapon in the game without headshots. But this is limited to its nerfed initial range, which you can boost to 7 meters at best. You can achieve 2 bursts at infinite range if you land multiple shots to the deep red areas. Otherwise, this is potentially one of the slowest killing primaries at range. And it doesn't help that its drawbacks include worse bloom, slower bullet speed, less range, and is restricted to 12 rounds a mag, or 6 bursts. So, what are my thoughts on the Striker 45? I didn't get to use it much because I was on vacation, and the fall semester has started, but I think it's fine. Nothing too special. It's what I imagined the KSP-45 would be like if it had a full auto wildfire mode. I know hollow points are supposed to get an impact buff and deal more flinch next season, but I would still avoid it. Because of its unchanged fire rate and burst delay, your base time to kill is slower than normal. Yes, you could one burst, but you're better off with a melee weapon in that range. It's not quite the UMP that people wanted. If you want something closer performance-wise, there's the GKS. They both have the same fire rate, flinch, mag size, and recoil pattern. The Striker has better damage with its 3-shot and 5-shot consistency, along with superior mobility. Even though it should be the faster killing weapon, the GKS is more consistent because it's hit scan with much better hipfire, less punishing attachments, better iron sights, and less recoil kick. As for its fellow 2-round burst, unlike hollow points, the Echo Fire on the Maddox is a less punishing weapon with its superior fire rate and burst delay. It doesn't have as good of body multipliers, but it has much more ammo. So what are some changes that the Striker could use? First, the recoil should be smoothened out like the GKS. Second, a buff to its bullet speed. Not by much, but enough to make the 150mm barrel and hollow points more viable. Speaking of hollow points, it needs quite the glow up. It doesn't need a bloom penalty. The shown recoil pattern on the comparison page is wrong. It should have came with a movement boost, like in 2019. And lastly, the forearms should also deal increased damage to improve potential time to kill. But hey, that's just my opinion. This has been a Casual's quick guide. Feel free to suggest what weapons you want to see covered next. My name is On, and I'm off.